Today, we're going to talk about that one skill that can make or break your dev team. And it's not technical, it is people leadership. In today's ever changing and uncertain tech landscape, due to AI shifts, constant layoffs, and also hiring freezes, having really good people managers is basically essential. It's not just a nice to have or optional. So you can go and hire the best and most amazing engineers, but they can still leave. Not because of the code, not because of the product or pay, but because of their manager. Let's dive in. Hi, I'm Edna. Welcome to my channel. I've been in tech for over a decade now, and I created this space to help other software professionals grow. Every week, I share my insights on tech leadership, project management, system design, computer science fundamentals, and just the latest in tech. So hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out. Oh, by the way, stay until the end for a little laugh. I have a dad joke for you. I chose to become a software dev manager because I have experienced myself having really good managers and let's say learning managers. And I know the massive impact that each has on an individual. And so, what do I think in today's landscape, especially in tech? Here's the thing. Due to all of the, layoffs you hear around, all the hiring slowdown, and all the reshuffling of jobs that happens in tech, I feel like companies have started treating people and their employees like it's an inventory. Oh, they're not working out, just replace them. But here's the truth, it is short sighted and it's expensive. Whenever you're losing an engineer, for whatever reason, you lose their ramp up time, you lose their domain knowledge, you lose the momentum that they had on the project they were working on. But here's the truth, you're probably not fixing the root problem, but only the symptom. I love this saying from one of my favorite books called Extreme Ownership. It says, there are no bad teams, only bad managers. Here's the thing, you can swap people in and out all you want. But if you're not spending the time to train your managers, to give them the support they need, and to hold them accountable, you're gonna always get the same poor results. If you have liked this video so far, I would really appreciate it if you can like, comment, and share it. It helps it reach more people that also may find it helpful, and also it helps the channel grow overall. And in return, I promise I'm going to answer all of your comments. And here is a picture of my very good friend's bunny called Zammy. Oh, by the way, make sure to keep watching until at least tip number 6 because it's something that most managers miss, but it actually can really boost your team's productivity and results. Let me tell you a quick story from the first year that I became a manager. My team, my directs, would provide input, feedback, complaints to my upper management chain. And honestly, I was so confused. So I asked my upper management, I was like, why are they opening up to you but not me? And the answer that they gave me was like shocking, simple, and eye opening. They told me because we asked. That's it. So I made it my mission to learn how to get my team to open up to me and how to connect with them by learning how to ask really good questions. That's when I came across John C. Maxwell's book on good leaders ask great questions. So, by the way, I really like John C. Maxwell, especially his books on leadership, and highly recommend it. That's how I learned what kind of questions to ask to really invite that conversation and like really build that trust with my team. Here are some of my favorite go to questions. Just a simple, how is it going? This question is so good because it lets your direct reports take the conversation wherever they want to and really talk about what's on their mind. The next one is, as your manager, what's one thing I can do to help support you to do your job better? And another is, especially when you have introduced a new change to a project, to processes, to whatever it is, you can ask, tell me about that change. What's going well with it? What can be improved about it? And another good question is, tell me about something you're concerned about the team, about any processes, about the recent projects, whatever they're working on. It's very important to get ahead of the concerns that your team has as soon as possible. And when I ask the question, here's where I do the most important thing. I stay quiet and just listen, really listen, and take notes. And then I do the most important thing. I take real action on their feedback as soon as possible. This is where the magic happens and you build trust with your team. Look, mistakes are going to happen. Everyone makes mistakes. Your team is going to miss deadlines. A project might have a scope creep or flop. It is going to happen. But if you're going to blame somebody for that mistake, or you're going to finger point someone, or you're going to silently judge, you're ultimately creating an environment where creativity is going to die. And that's not something you want for your business. Instead, what you do next is really important. And I recommend that you learn from that mistake. I remember once we were working on a feature and we needed to work with a third party vendor. We have to choose one and work with them and integrate with them. Unfortunately, we picked the wrong one and we had to part ways with them. But we didn't shift and that blame to anyone. Instead, we as a team worked together, we reflected on what happened, and we created and documented a guide on how to choose the right vendor. And guess what? Next time we picked the right vendor because of that experience and document. And it was actually for a much bigger and more impactful project. And so we succeeded. So, the moral of the story is mistakes are going to happen, but what you do next is important. Learn from them. Okay, a quick break. So, if you are a new manager in tech and you would like to dive deeper into any of these skills that I'm talking here, please feel free to find me on LinkedIn under Edna Shamuni and send me a message so we can chit chat and continue from there. Now, back to the good stuff. One of the biggest responsibilities you have as a people manager is to help your people grow. That's what keeps them motivated and purpose driven. Here's what I do for that process. So I usually look at the next level job description. So if you have a junior engineer who wants to get promoted to senior, or if then you look at the senior. If you have a senior looking to get promoted to a principal, then you look at the principal job description. You get the idea. Then what I do is like we sit together, we go through the job description, we identify the areas that the individual has gaps in. And then I work with that person to create smart goals, guide in the description for that. And once those goals are set, I meet with them once a month and kind of review the process, the actions that we have identified. I provide feedback. I find a mentor if possible. I tell them what they did wrong, or I tell them what they did well and what they can improve on. And you just kind of go through all that. And this process has been proven successful. For example, I had a junior engineer who wanted to get promoted to senior, and I found him a project where he would work on the UI redesign of our web product. And he needed to work cross functionally with some UX designers, with other tech teams, and focusing on back end and front end. And this was a great opportunity for him. And through the process that I told you, he was able to successfully complete the project, and it boosted his confidence level, and he also got the promotion. So, all in all, in order to help your people grow, you need to have a structured process like this. This one is my favorite. Bringing order to chaos. Let's be honest, most teams don't fail because of bad code. They fail because of lack of clarity. I remember once I joined this team where they weren't doing agile, Scrum that most software teams do. And oh my gosh, things were messy. Kept missing the deadlines, working on multiple things at the same time, and the constant context switching was rough. So I came in and I started doing planning and retrospective meetings. We started setting weekly goals, doing, daily stand-ups, and we worked towards really understanding what our team velocity was. I also created a feature release template where it forced us to work with our stakeholders and kind of stay aligned with them. And we ended up releasing new features iteratively monthly. And guess what? Magic happened. All of this chaos faded away, and my team felt in control. They felt good. And that's because like they were able to work in an environment where they could bring in their best selves and do their best work. And finally, what you've been waiting for, situational leadership. Not every engineer needs the same level of support in every situation and for every project. Imagine you have a principal engineer, and normally, they're a rock star. You just give them a project, a problem statement, and let them be, and check in with them later. But you suddenly now having them pivot to AI, which is relatively new and everybody's learning. You can't just let them go and be successful. In this case, they do need more support from you. They do need more training and stuff like that. So the question becomes, how do you as a manager figure out what kind of help each of your engineers need in each situation and project? Well, you ask a question. This is my go to. Remember, good leaders ask great questions. You can ask them, how do you plan to approach this project? If they have a pretty clear idea and they lay it out for you, you just kind of set them free, let them go, and check in with them later. But if they're unsure, that's when you get more involved. You support them, you coach them, you find them other folks in the company or team that are familiar with that technology or that skill they're trying to grow in. And also, sometimes it's good for them just to let them do training and also allocate some time for them to do prototyping so that they can learn by doing. So, as you see, there's no one size fits all type leadership. It's all about the situation and where your engineers are at. I hope you found these tips helpful, and I hope it helps you become the type of leader that people would want to work for. If you found these tips and this video helpful, please like it, please share, please comment. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. It helps the channel grow and it helps show this content to other folks that also may find it helpful. And now I leave you like I always do with a little joke because life is too short not to laugh. So, why do Java programmers wear glasses? Because they don't see sharp. See you in the next one.